Nice to see
Good to
everyone.
see you, Honu.
Aloha. I'm trying to fix my section. I can't see everybody right now. Kalamai. Change my- Okay, we'll give a couple minutes. And then I will start us off with pule and some pale before we start, or little oli more so. Should I screen share or do we have someone who can screen share?
If you're able to screen share, that might be more stable.
I think so. That's fine. All right. Oops. This is incorrect. So sorry. I'm not able to
Probably want
stop
to go
screen
into
sharing this.
presentation mode to make it bigger.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. There we go. Wow. Gonna start admitting folks. Okay. All right, so for today, to start, I want to do Hemu Oya and then Hepule Aina. Hemu Oya will require all of us. You guys can stay muted for now, but with all our collective intention. Hemu Oya is a way to kind of rid of any bad thoughts, feelings. Let's leave it at our hypothetical Zoom door. I will do the part that says one, and when it says kako, everybody say hemu, and you will gesture away from yourself. And then when it says pa'i, that is okay. And we'll do that 3 times. And then I will finish this off with, all right. Hanumai, inhale. Hanuaku. Hanumai. Hanuaku. Hanumai. Hanuaku. Hemuoya. Hemu. Hemu na moi, ino na moi moia na pu nohu na homia hemuoya. Hemu. Eli eli. Noa. Ya e. Noa ka honua. Hemuoya. Hemu. Hemu na moi, ino na moi moia na pu nohu na homia hemuoya. Hemu. Eli eli. Noa. Ya e. Noa ka honua. Hemuoya. Hemu. Hemu na moi, ino na moi moia na pu nohu na haumia hemuoya. Hemu. Eli eli. Noa. Ya e. Noa ka honua. He pule aina. Pule kako. E nā akua he pule ia e holoi ana I ka pōʻino o ka ʻaina a me ka pale aʻe I pau ko ka ʻaina haumia. He pule ia e hoʻopau ana I nā hewa o ka ʻaina pau. I pau ke aʻe me ka kawau, I pau ke kulopia a me ka pululuka, I pau a hulia lana, a laila, niho, peku, hoʻemu, huikala, malapakai, ka mauli hou I nā akua. Mama Wanoa. Okay, Mom. Thank you for being with me today. Hopefully we're feeling very good. Welcome to our December Oʻahu Resilience Hub Learning Community meeting. For those who don't know me, it's been a little bit since I've been able to hop on to these monthly Zooms. My name is Honu Aina Nichols, and I'm one of the staff with the Oʻahu Resilience Hub Learning Community. I'm really happy to be in shared space with you all together today. To start us off, what are we doing here? We are a community of practice dedicated to supporting the development of resilience hubs on Oʻahu and connecting the ecosystem of resilience surrounding them. We are a joint program as the Hub Learning Community in partnership with La Hui Foundation and the Community Engagement for Resilient Neighborhoods, or SERENE, building from the work with CCSR, with the City and County of Honolulu, and the Action 15 project. And on the right is some of our lovely staff and La Hui Foundation. Our mission concept with the Hub Learning Community is to support individual hubs, specifically micro networks and regions in coordinated learning and sharing best practices for community resilience. Okay. And then I'm going to pass it off to Miku to ground us in what is our agenda for today. Hi, Miku, you available?
I am here. I lost the Zoom. Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Great to see you all back. I know we have a couple new faces, which is really exciting. Welcome. And I think Diane is here. So awesome. So really, really great to see you guys. Today we are, this is our last meeting for the year. And we're just kind of wrapping up some of the, I guess, larger tasks that we had taken on so that we were ready to jump into January with full speed and strength. So today we're going to show a couple photos from the Hawaii State Food, I don't think I even wrote that down correctly, but the Hawaii State Food Systems Summit that just took place. It was awesome, and not everyone got to go. It was a little bit, I guess, limited the way they did the invite. So I wanted to share a couple updates there because some pretty important things regarding resilience hubs came out of that. And some of us who are here today also had a chance to attend. So I'll open the space up too to let people report and share what they learned. Some of what came out of that was a really awesome conversation that was facilitated by the CCSR, their Office of Resilience. And as part of that, we got a little bit of additional feedback on our definition of hubs. So we want to take a little bit of time here today to revisit that. And because that's actually one of our goals is by the end of January to have that working definition. After that, as you guys know, we've been accepting open call for our leadership team as we are building out our, I guess you could say, our invisible infrastructure of human beings behind the work that we do. And so I have some feedback for you on where we are at with that. And we are going to start the open kind of voting period after this meeting. And we'll have a little bit of a refresh about the Resilience Hub registry. So we are starting to sign hubs up, and also want to make sure that all of you guys who are here today are also signed up as members. So you can make sure that you're getting the invites that you want to be getting, etc., and also can share and invite other people. So that's some of what we have just for our updates. We'll go through that momentarily. And then as we switch to that format, we're putting more time into our working groups at the front end of the meetings. So after that, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the different things from the neighborhood board working group, young professionals working group. I think Nancy will be joining soon, and she'll be able to join in talking a little bit about Team CERT. We will have, I think, because we do have some new people, we may have the welcome room open, and maybe for Diane or others that's first time, you can go to that one. And then we'll be revisiting our CERT and hubs group. And then we'll end with the end of year reflections, kind of update on our voting for leadership team, and kind of any other additional nominations and business that you guys want to share. So that's what I've got. And let's see, I guess since you're sharing Honu, let's go next slide. Okay, so this one, it might be easier for me to share because I'm gonna steal it from you, Honu.
You want to stop?
I think it'll take it over automatically. There we go. Up to the top. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of go through this with those that didn't have a chance to attend, and then. Did we get the recording going just to make sure that recording's happening? Yes, I see the red button. Good. Okay, so there's so much that happened at this summit, and it makes sense because there was like a steering committee of 15 people, like took 6 months to put it together, and a lot was packed in. They are still going to be working on the report and having a whole lot of good commentary and things to read up on. That'll come out to everybody. But basically, The theme this year was food systems resilience and disaster preparedness. It was at the Wahiawa Value Added Product Development Center, which was really awesome to go see. And this is something they do every year, but they don't usually have so much emphasis on emergency preparedness, which is why a number of us tried to attend and support. Day one was more like state of the system. Day two was policy and community, at least that's how it was intended to be. This is the snapshot of the agenda, and I'm gonna actually just pop it into the chat for you because it is publicly available. Let's see, this is the first time you guys can see me. I'm actually out in Hilo today in my yurt with my laptop, so one screen for me today. Here you go. So there's the full agenda that you can take a look at and just see what's going on. Also, did the notes get shared for people in the chat? If they didn't, you all have access to the notes and can follow along, and maybe we can repost that in the chat for you guys. But yeah, just to kind of go through it briefly, these are just a couple different snapshots of what we covered, and there's so much. I'm just going to read a few things. So a big part of it was just really looking at food and emergency preparedness. There was some things that might people. There was this emergency food tasting, which was awesome. People looked at MREs, people looked at freeze drying food, and just learning more about kind of the food resources that are available to communities in general and how that intersects with the different food mass care and food feeding plans for Oʻahu. And actually this was a state of Hawaii, so it wasn't just our island. There's a lot here. I'm just gonna highlight a couple different things. We played an extreme event game, which was sort of a soft start into doing tabletop training exercises. So I'll let you guys keep looking at the agenda on your own, and I'm gonna flip through to some photos. That extreme event game was one of my interesting takeaways because I think that that's something that we could modify and start bringing those types of things to your guys' hubs and your guys' groups. Tabletops can be really intense, and this could be a really nice way to get community members engaged and excited, and it has a community building aspect to it. In the game, there's basically a mock scenario of a hurt that's going to hit, and then you have to pretend that you are, usually a different role. So if you're from the city, you're going to be a community member. You're a community member, maybe you're going to be a researcher. And they have you do this role-playing exercise to make decisions about how you care for your community. So that was one of my takeaways. Also, just the number of people there. It was a really good coming together from many different sectors. And I think, oh yeah, and I took this photo, of course, because I think some of these guys are in the room here with us today. The three troublemakers from various resilience hubs and CERT groups. I think it was good because it brought everybody together, and it just really, really emphasized food. And a lot of times people who are doing food are not as much thinking about emergency preparedness, and vice versa in some ways. So that was, I think those are some of my big takeaways. Also, yeah, this is an example of a game. So there's like team building aspects to doing some of these activities that we did, including the game. You might recognize one of this gentleman here is with us today. There's also a nice youth component to it. And so it was an opportunity to connect to various youth groups that are in the room. Vibrant Hawaii actually brought over some of their youth ambassadors from Big Island. And we've invited some of them here today to connect with our next generation. So that was another really nice takeaway. And then this is Auntie Tammy. And you can see actually to the right, or right kind of behind her, there's a table with different roots. So Key Project was demonstrating how to bring jungle greens in for food security, basically. And then Auntie Tammy was doing freeze drying. And then there's another, how do you mix up your MREs? But then there was another one that was about how do you create solar powered dehydrators, right? So the idea is that resilience means food security, means it needs to be shelf stable. So like that's one of those things. How do we have more shelf stable food was one of like the big takeaways. And some of you guys might recognize him. He actually helped start Serene with me. That's Chris Fujimoto. He's out in Waiana Coast Comprehensive Health Center and demonstrating some of the ready-made kits that you can have in your hubs. So these are just some of the takeaways, and they're just really good, tangible I guess, preparedness that you can do for your hubs, or think about how you incorporate into hubs that you're designing or supporting. And we've already got, basically Auntie Tammy says, yes, just let us know when we want to do these workshops. So I think another big takeaway for us, or me thinking about Hub Learning Community, is we don't have necessarily funding for some of these kinds of workshops. And so thinking about next steps is how do we apply for grants or partner maybe with city or with others, to get these types of trainings to our hubs that we're now actually signing up. So another really big takeaway was this conversation facilitated by the Office of Resilience. And we got a nice, this is basically a nice set of sticky notes of a whole bunch of different additions to think about for our definition. And here I just put a new, slightly modified definition, a little bit more simplified, incorporating some, not all, but some of the feedback that we got on that day. And so here's what we have as a trusted gathering site. So hub, what's a resilience hub? It's a trusted gathering site or group that supports everyday resilience and during a disruption supports a coordinated response. So keep that in your mind, because I think we're going to go into a conversation about that briefly. But before we did that, I did actually want to open a space up a moment for others that got to attend the summit, to share just any takeaways that you'd like to share, things that might be useful for people to know that your reflection. So I'm not going to pick on anybody, but those that were there, Matt, actually both Matts, Parker, yeah, if you guys have thoughts that you want to share, feel free to chime in.
I went to one of those days, and I'm a part of the Hawaii Youth Food Council. So I was one of the high schoolers who got to stand up there and talk about what the youth took away from that whole event for that first day. And one of the things that one of the aunties at the event talked about, like she and her cousin or relative, they were one of the people passing out these foodstuffs for people to eat. And the auntie talked about how we all have knowledge. Like if I learn about how to stop the bleed, which I do, I got my little certification. I can teach other people about how to stop the bleed. And same thing with food systems. If someone knows how to cook in their community, they can teach other people how to cook in other communities. Because it just doesn't make sense how, if you want to become a doctor, you have to pay an actual doctor like $1 million just to get training from them. Why can't the doctor just teach everyone what they know for free so that we all can become doctors or chefs, and we can all be trained using knowledge that other people already have. And in exchange, we can teach other people what we know that other people do not know. So that was a large takeaway. And it makes sense, but people just want to make money and gatekeep their knowledge. So that's an issue we have to solve. And the last takeaway I took from it is how 1/4 of Honolulu families are food insecure, while in all the Hawaiian island chains, 1/3 of families in the Hawaiian chain is food insecure. And even though that 1/4 in Oʻahu and 1/3 in Hawaii overall, like there's the Hawaiian Food Bank really like emphasizes the differences between those two statistics. But I'm thinking like even though it's just a fraction, there's actually 200,000 people inside of that 1/3. So just saying 1/3 is not, it makes it sound like so little, but in reality, behind that statistic, thousands of lives are being impacted and starving every day, not getting access to food, even with the current events like the SNAP funding shutdown and all that. we have to do something about that. That's what I learned.
Mahalo on, and you can see, welcome. You can see why I was just like wanted to invite him to join this group and help step into that next generation leadership. I think another thing is we're going to be looking at how do we bring in high school seniors to join in. So thank you, on. Maybe one more from Matt, and then we probably need to transition. Yeah.
Yeah, I could comment. It was definitely worth 2 days, and it takes a lot to be worth 2 days these days. But it was great because Chad Buck, who's sort of the guy who's been ringing the bell about our food system for years, um, did a great presentation. He's the guy who's created many of the videos that some of us have watched, and it's all about how fragile our system is, especially if Honolulu Harbor is taken down, because that's where all the food that comes from the mainland and other places goes out to the neighbor islands. So it's still a very fragile system. But I was also impressed because all of the food banks were represented there, and they talked about the feeding task force here on Oahu, and each of the islands got a chance to talk about what they're up to. And it's just very, very amazing. I mean, I believe we've learned a lot of lessons since Maui wildfires. There was a whole presentation from people who were active in the Maui wildfires and the challenges that they saw in terms of feeding and setting up points of distribution. So it was, and of course, talking to the auntie and talking to all the people who were sort of demonstrating jungle foods. I have several of those in my backyard here in Hawaii Kai, like chaya and so forth. So it was very well rounded, and I think everybody came out with something. I know that Dottie, who's very active in the Hub Network, walked away with a lot of those jungle plants to plant on their new 5 acres. So I I recommended she take a whole bunch home. So anyway, that was great. Definitely worth that.
That's great. Thanks. Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks for both of you guys to share. For those that just joined, we were reflecting on the Hawaii Food System Summit that just took place. It was really valuable to be there. We'll have more, I think, follow-ups from that to come, and you'll see how that ripples into the Resilience Hub work. So actually next, so I'm going to pass it back to Honu to talk us through this next piece.
Do you want me to screen share too?
Sure, maybe make it easier for you to talk through it.
Do it this way. Make it a slideshow before. Okay. All right. So we are going to have a discussion about these definitions of the hubs. I want to quickly differentiate, or for the working definition, our voting opens after today's meeting, and Miku might have some updates for that. And then what we currently have, right, for the definition of a resilience hub is a trusted gathering site or group that supports year-round community resilience and during a disruption activates to support a coordinated response. And then from our friendly Joe, a resilience hub can also be 6 people who care and the rest is equipment. We love Joe. And so we'll move forward. And in differentiation with Vibrant Hawaii, their definition of a resilience hub is a locally rooted, community-driven sites for everyday resilience and disaster readiness. What we want to do with our discussion today is look over some of these options of some running definitions, and I'll go over each of them. And if we have some time, if some are calling out to you immediately, as that's the one, that's exactly it. Or if some of them are speaking to you entirely and you want to wordsmith it a little bit, that is exactly why we have this time. So option A, so this will be our definition for the hub learning community, different from Vibrant Hawaii. Option A would be a trusted gathering site or group that supports everyday resilience and during a disruption supports a coordinated response. Option B would be a trusted gathering space or group that supports everyday resilience and during a disruption supports a coordinated response. Or we can be a hyper-local place or network that supports everyday resilience and during a disruption. Option D would be a trusted gathering site or group that supports everyday resilience and during a disruption, instead of supports, activates to support a coordinated response. Are there any immediate feelings from the group? Small differences.
I think reading the and during a disruption activates that part.
Mhm.
It's missing a couple of commas. So comma after disruption and before during. And I think my favorite word is option C, where it says network, because a part of the Oʻahu Hub's mission is to make people feel like they're involved with the community and teaching them the skills they need to know, like emergency preparedness, pedestrian safety, learning how to stop a bleed. So I feel like network really speaks about how people can be anywhere on the island, but they're able to connect with each other through this learning hub. So network.
What's that actually? I like the idea of reminding folks of the network. Colin, my Matt, go for it.
No, I was just going to comment though that what happens in a real hub is that they do activate during disruption. And so network aside, I mean, we might come up with an option E, which is a combination, but the reality is, the point is it's a place that during the normal times does normal things and supports AED training, CERT training, job skills, whatever the community has decided it needs. I mean, if we look at things like the Key Project and Dottie's place up in Hauula, that's exactly what they do. They also do food on a routine basis, but during a disruption, and I think that's why we've talked about a disruption isn't necessarily gray skies, but the reality is something bad is happening way more than normal. So then you activate and you bring in maybe even some of your support spokes to help you in the hub. So during the week, the staffing may be 2 or 3 people, but when a disruption occurs, things like CERT teams and other volunteers who are known can come in and assist, because now they're going to be handing out 5 times the food that they normally do. Now they're going to be dealing with providing power to people. Now they're going to be dealing with all the things you do during a disruption. But I don't have a problem with the idea, because it is a network. There's not just one organization. It's all the organizations in that community. What HAIMA is pushing, community or emergency action plans, is we create that network, and that's exactly how that happens. We know we have a call list that says, hey, during this emergency, this is what I need. Can you help? And Hawaii BOAD, which I'm a part of, that's exactly what we do when it's a big emergency. We help Oʻahu, we help each of the COADs get stuff done. So, I think the important thing is to make sure we don't forget that it's got to be very trusted site already. In other words, it's active all the time, and that's why it's trusted. And then, it picks up and goes into turbo mode or crazy mode as needed. Just my opinion.
Honu, I'm going to jump in because I'm guessing if you're screen sharing, you can't see the comments, which sometimes is hard. There was a comment, which is a good one, which is, thank you, Matt, by the way, why is blue skies, gray skies not on there? And this is a good question for some of you. Everyone who's been here, it probably seems familiar to us, but when we're going to the general public, that's actually not intuitive. It is like you still have to have someone explain it to you, and then it becomes intuitive, but it's like missing one step. So that was like some recent feedback why that got dropped, but it could get added back on in your working group. So I'm thinking in terms of timing, Honu, maybe we just have one more thought in the big group, and then we.
Just a quick
Yeah.
comment though. Losing SNAP benefits for a month was not a gray sky, but it was definitely a disruption.
Thank you, Matt. That's
Yeah.
a reminder of that. It's outside of the natural hazard or natural cycle of things. Oh, okay. So last one, and then we'll still keep talking about these in the smaller groups, but Honu, I see Aloha has her hand raised.
Oh, thank you. I like what Matt mentioned, that we might want to even consider doing an option E, and I'll give you an example why. We have a group called the Kiskahui, and we've had it since 2020, I guess. And whenever we have an initiative that we want to move forward, we bring the group together. Otherwise, we may have Zoom meetings to discuss certain things, but it wouldn't be a group that would activate any kind of emergency that might happen because of a disruption of any sort. But it's a very active network of people who come together whenever something needs to be done. So we brought them together in 2023 to put 7 committees together to design a sustainability plan. Then in this year, in September, a number of them got together for the Symposium for Climate Resilience. But what I think we're missing in our community, at least in East Oʻahu, is we don't have a trusted place where our neighborhood boards or our nonprofit partners can come and host whether workshops, educational programming, disaster preparedness activities, those types of things, or even just regular educational programming or visitor education in case we have visitors who want to come out and figure out what we have in East Oahu that they may be able to participate in. So I like the hyper local place, and I like the network, but I also like the activate, the ability in our place to activate during an emergency of some sort or disruption. And it doesn't have to be a disruption. It could be we want to effect clean stream cleaning or whatever it is that we want to do. Thank you.
Mahalo aloha for a minute. I was taking notes. I'm feeling we need an option E. I hear a trusted gathering language needs to be in there. We need a trusted space. What I also hear, and this is my personal note, is I was like, because network and also activate just as verbiage is very similar to Vibrant Hawaii. And I think that can also be confusing as to like just the difference with the network. I was trying to look up synonyms. I was like, activates, initiates. And then, so while we go, what we're going to do now is we're going to break out into working groups. We're going to hold on to these thoughts. We're going to talk story with each other about what our working groups are going to be doing, but with our extra time, we can workshop some of this and hopefully come back with an option E to share with the rest of the group. How's that sound for everybody? Yeah, Miku, if you know how to separate it.
That sounds good. I actually made slides at the end that they can use to just edit right into it. So, and you guys can edit, you can take B and be like, I like B, and then modify B, or you can make a new one, I think, and then we'll come back and report. Can you go to the next slide, though? I think we've got a few more things to go through before we do breakouts. Is that right? Oh, yeah. This is just a reminder that we're doing this. This is the Resilience Hub Registry. So just a reminder, we are finally starting to sign hubs up as we get close enough to a definition of what the hubs are. And the vision is that as hubs are signed up, they will get access to training, access to interns being placed with them, access to resilience core leaders, student leaders, invites to the upcoming meetings, and then maybe a map, right? And so that then people can say, oh, Miku, where are the hubs on Oahu, right? Or Honu, where are the hubs? Or any of you, where are the hubs on Oahu? We have a resilience registry with them all signed up, whether or not they're in Vibrance Network, or who knows, some other network. Maybe the city office creates a network, right? Like we have all the hubs somewhere, right? So that we can refer resources to them. So that's just out there, and just want to make sure that you guys know it's available. It'll probably be a little easier to do this once we have that shared definition, but it's not too late. We can start right now. Okay, next slide. I think, okay. I think we should just jump into the breakouts and we'll come back, right? I feel like we're right in it. So, do we have the rooms made? So we just need room A, B, and C. So we're gonna have, I think, someone on it, and I'll talk us through what we've got. Michael. Yeah, I mean, so we're having them across Oahu. So we're looking for trying to support resilience hubs all across Oahu. So as you want to sign up, and also just the way that we're doing signups right now is one lead and 5 members, and we will go from there, because every hub is in completely different state. So some already have 20 members and they're off and running and they've already got their plan and they're ready to go, but they want to be listed so they get more resources, right? Or others are just small groups and they're just forming. So long ago when we were teaching children about hubs, we said big and small, we need them all, right? And so the stronger we have community, the more we have, the stronger communities will be. So you can sign up even with just wherever you're at. The breakout rooms that we're going to have today are, actually I could probably, let me just screen share that part so that we have that access for everybody. Okay, neighborhood board meetings will be with Honu. So if people that want to keep focusing on neighborhood boards, it's just a convenient way to group you guys, and your goal is to meet each other, talk about that definition, and if you can, come up with next steps for your working group, because we've been having these meetings, people are starting to get to know each other. The next room is going to be the young professionals next gen room. Tiffany will be facilitating that one. Again, same thing, take a look at that definition, meet each other, and see if you can come up with a next step so that we're actually moving into work and not just meeting. The third one, it will be a welcome room with Chris. So anyone who's brand new here can meet Chris. If Nancy's in the room, I think we're actually planning you to join the room with Tiffany. But you guys, maybe you could also all start in the welcome room and migrate over to Tiffany. And the last room we'll have today is that same one we've been meeting with CERT groups and hubs in breakout room 4. So that's what you can look forward to. And we have our rooms ready.
Open yet. There we go.
Okay, perfect. All right, so go ahead and jump into your room of choice. You get to choose. Room A is neighborhood board. Room B is next gen with Tiff. Room C, that welcome room. If you're brand new, you'll want to go there so you can just kind of get acquainted and say hi. And then room D this time around is going to be me and the CERT groups. You guys go ahead and get started. For those CERT folks, I'm going to stay in the main room and help people if they need to get shepherded into their spaces. So yeah, I'll join you guys in the CERT group room shortly if you guys want to tackle those definitions. Aloha, are you going into neighborhood board today? Oh, you're.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see everyone again. Hey Jasper, how's it going? You look good. Merry Christmas, buddy. Um, so these are all the new people to the group. I just want to welcome you all here and into the Hub Learning community. It's always great to have new people. So if you want to in the chat put your name, maybe the organization you're affiliated with. And then for an extra kind of thing that you can add in there, I want to know what about resilience work makes you the most excited about it? Or in short, why do you what brought you here today, I guess would be a better way to put it. So you guys can feel free to put that in the chat. Um, and we'll just kind of have a little discussion about it. And I have some questions I want to go through with you guys, just to basically welcome you all to the space and try to make um, your involvement in the hub learning community more um, what's the word? More inviting and more as acceptable as possible for you. So I have some questions about the best ways to communicate and also about which areas that you would be the most interested in for like working groups and just basically try to get you connected to partners and people that are interested in the same things as you. Um, let's see. On says a public health student. I'm a part of a local food system advocacy group, and it's public health, so I want to learn and I want to do that. That's really good. Um, I'm a I'm also a student. Um, I am a public admin student at University of Hawaii Manoa, and I'm a master's student. And a lot of it has to do with how to create equitable outcomes for the community and how to create positive material conditions for the community, especially in developing resiliency. And so I totally get what you're coming from a student perspective. So maybe you'd be interested in the youth and young professionals working group going forward and things like that. And I think that they're having a conversation there too about food advocacy. So that'll be a good one. Um, Diane Fujio, welcome, says that they're with the Kaneohe and Windward Lions clubs that's focusing on emergency preparedness. That's really awesome, especially with engaging with Kaneohe. That's kind of like one of those because I'm in Kaka'ako and Manoa, and Serene and the Hub Learning community is based in an office out of KCC. And so being able to kind of do those cross-island communications has always been something that like I really like doing, especially because I'm from Wahiawa. So kind of like the now I'm in town and I've been kind of central, and my dad works at Waianae Coast Comp. So kind of like that cross island connection. Um, and especially like the Windward Lions Club too is just um I was a part of, I don't know if it's the same one, but I was part of the Lions Club at Mililani High School back when I was there too. So we're super glad to have you here and welcome. Cyrus Howe is the operations manager at Hawaii Green Growth, a Makiki resident, so not too far from me. Yeah, and super dense population, super unprepared in Makiki. One of my first projects with Serene was actually doing resilience surveys in Makiki and getting seniors engaged in Makiki and finding out to what level of engagement they were with disaster preparedness with their high-rise building evacuation plans. When was the last time that they had a fire drill? Just basic things like that. And we found that they were severely underprepared. And so that was one of the communities that we tried to reach out the most with getting seniors prepared was Makiki residents because of all of the senior living facilities up there, like near Young Street. Um, so yeah, really glad to have you here. Thank you so much. And then Jasper Martinez is a volunteer from the community. I have a great relationship with Jasper Martinez, always been a helping hand, not afraid to get in the community and like get his hands working. One of the most driven people I know, super great guy. So we're glad to see you here again. Also nice haircut. Yeah, so it's good to see everyone here today. Um, I guess to just kind of open it up, this can also just go in the chat. Um, this is a great way going forward. I want to know how you prefer to communicate and collaborate. Are you the kind of person that prefers emails, text groups? Are you into like meeting in person? Or like maybe just within your community? Do you prefer small teams, or are you into like being into a big leadership position? do you enjoy being on committees, or are you more of a, let me know when there's work to be done, kind of person? And if you prefer email, text groups, things like that. So you can just put that in the chat. This just kind of helps us as the Hub Learning community over time find out like how we should be engaging, because if we all of a sudden get a mass wave of people that are like, we hate being texted, then like we'll be like, okay, no text messages for you guys. We'll just keep it to the emails. Or people who are like, I just want to know for volunteer opportunities. I just want to know when people need like my boots on the ground. Then like that's another thing too. We're like, okay, got it. Like we understand what the, uh what the desires for communication are for people. So yeah, take your time to put that in. Emails sounds good. Applied for a leader position in the hub. Want to be involved as much as possible. Awesome, on. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Jasper. So another thing that I want to bring up just to kind of have sitting in people's minds, um, is if there is a working group that you feel drawn to, if there's a group that you want to have discussions about, whether that's strategic planning or for health and hubs or youth and next gen. Like, for example, you might want to go to health and hubs because you're a public health student, but you might also want to go to youth and next gen because you're a student and that's kind of where the other students are meeting. So the good thing about these meetings is that you can switch them up and you can go from one to another. Don't feel like you're locked into one. If you feel like, you want to go to the neighborhood boards planning group, and then next week you want to go to youth and young professionals, then those are very good things to do too. So feel free to bounce between them. Um, but if you have a group that resonates with you, then that's something to think about. Let's see. And then I guess the last thing that I would want you guys to share is, what is one community challenge that you care about that you think resilience hubs could solve? Because there are a lot of issues that are out there, many of them multifaceted, many of them related to each other, right? But if you could pick one pin to pull out, one domino to pull out of that tower to that you are personally very passionate about or that you care about and that you think resilience hubs could help solve, what is that community challenge? And you can share that in the chat if you feel so inclined, but I would love to read it. Um, because that really helps us to drive discussion forward for the rooms and everything. Especially so when the staff meets, sometimes we talk about, what was brought up in our rooms. We look at the notes and then we use that to kind of inspire our conversations or our updates for next meeting. Um, so if you have something like, whether that's public health or food insecurity or um, not enough access to broadband, which are things that people have brought up, natural food resources, environmental sustainability, um, cultural sustainability, whatever community challenge that you think hubs could help to address, whether that's poverty, um, or lack of childcare supplies or health and mental health services for the community. On says urging youth to stop using phones when walking and everyone to stop texting and driving, encouraging drivers to follow pedestrian right of way, pedestrian crosswalks that don't have traffic lights. Yeah, that is true. We have had trainings out of Resilience Hub sites before for like tech literacy. Um, it would be really interesting to see a youth outreach program um, about, the issue of substance abuse. That's not something that's come up actually in a lot of our conversations, but it is definitely a conversation that we should be having. So that's really good. Thank you, On, for sending that one. And also like safe driving practices too. Especially if uh this is another thing too that we saw during the tsunami warning that happened just a couple months ago, was that the traffic got completely locked and no one could get out. And there were several accidents that happened during that time. And so people don't actually know how to use their vehicles properly in a disaster, or how to pay attention to communication to know which routes to take. That's probably something that resilience hubs could help address too. But thank you for bringing that up. That's actually a really good one. Giving back to the community, food and security with natural resources, health and mental health to community, engage to the INA and help for the elders. Yeah, definitely. I think that that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do the hub learning community and resilience hubs in general, is basically to create community-based grassroots support for these things. And with having the community involved, it becomes culturally informed, right? And the people in the community are able to kind of give their input rather than it just being like a state memo that comes down, and then everyone's just kind of reacting right after that. And just by being community based too, that kind of allows us to be in touch a little bit more with mental health concerns with the community too. So super good. Thank you for bringing that up. I wanna you might be good for the Health and Hubs working group too, with talk about mental health care. Diane Fujio says, as a Kapuna, I'm interested in helping others prepare for emergencies, how to prepare the windward area to be nearly self-sufficient, as most resources will be given to Honolulu that have larger populations. Yeah, absolutely. Um, the that is one of the things that we've seen with the primary urban center, is that like each region has their own individual needs and requirements, but for some reason the primary urban center doesn't have too much of a resource shortage issue as the other areas on the island. And so I think that's why like the networked response between hubs has been really popular, especially like Ko'olaloa like region with Vibrantly and like network. Um, so like the hub learning community specifically, it helps individual hubs kind of share their best practice, but we don't activate them as a network. But what we also do is if you want that networked approach, we can get you in touch with with Vibrantly, who's much better at putting together that kind of networked model. So this is kind of like the way into that as well. So if you want that networked approach, that's a possibility too. Um, and yeah, especially with finding resources, it's a community-based thing where you have to kind of pool resources together. Um, And Cyrus House says, biggest community challenge in my eyes is insufficient mutual trust and respect among residents. Yeah, I think community response to Lahaina was good, but not so sure about more urban areas response. Yeah, definitely. I think that even in some of the meetings that we've had and interviews we had in doing the research to form this community, and to do the research on the social acceptability of resilience hubs, um, there was a lot of distrust between members of the community, right? Like who is going to be trying to serve their own interests, um, like uh while implementing like change into like through these hubs. And so that's one of the reasons why we went for the community-based model, was basically so that we could create a framework in which these discussions can happen, um, while everyone still kind of has the common goal of boosting community resilience, kind of giving some structure to the conversation. Um, but especially in urban areas, I've heard people talk about like not trusting the homeless or houseless community um, in their area, even though they are very important to the community and they're members of the community too. Um, but when we had interviews with the houseless homeless community, they had just as much distrust for people who um, they thought, could be trying to like, play pranks on them or use them as like the butt of a joke. And that was why this whole talk about mental health awareness came up through the resilience hubs. And that ended up bridging that gap in community trust between those two communities for a while. So definitely something that we're trying to do, but giving the space to have these conversations is um, more more of the goal that we're trying to do here. Oh, I'm just getting word that we probably should go back to the main room for the wrap up and to think about our reflections for the year. So I want to say Happy New Year and welcome to the Hub Learning community to everyone. Thank you so much for having this, like putting your input into this and just letting me share my experiences too as a student who kind of began with this and is still making it run. Um, and I hope that next time you guys come back, you guys can jump right into a working group that you're passionate about, having all of this stuff and this discussion in your mind, and have some great conversations with people that are just like-minded as you and come up with some next steps that you guys are passionate about. So with that, thank you so much, and I'm going to send us back to the main room.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Still waiting on our CERT group and next gen working group to come meet us back here.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. I think that we're ready to kind of join back to the main room. So I just came in to let you guys know that we're wrapping up and to head back to the main room. Okay. Bye-bye.
For people to get input. We'll talk later.
Right on. That's exciting.
Let Kalani know that it'll be coming his way as well.
Okay.
CERT group is going ham right now, looks like.
Honu, would you mind just putting
But it's really good. Oh, interesting. Sorry. But they don't have that model yet where we connect the two. So maybe that's something that we could look at as a possible next step. Is to, we had said, like, there's a lot of things we talked about as like, oh, we could get the list for all the active CERT teams, but maybe rather than doing that broad net, we focus specifically on this one and see what CERT teams are around and start the reach out of like who's interested in supporting not just CERT, but a hub. And at the same time as standing up your CERT, we can also help support standing up this hub.
And I would be all for that.
Oh, right. That's a good next step. I like that. Yeah, I think we focus in on it. That I'm really happy you're here. The Eva neighborhood board had been like asking me what's going on, and I was like, well, you know, we're all at various stages of this, so I think that they'll be really pleased. I'm pleased to hear that. So I think that's something else that we're working on right now is as we get people to sign up, how do we onboard new hubs, because they're all at different phases, and this idea of bringing CERT is also new. But I think, yeah, let's let that be a next step. So like if we, so I'll scroll back up. I mean, those are, in terms of these notes of catching you guys up, this is kind of what we were looking at, is like, how do we identify the CERT teams? How do we connect them? How do we get that list? And where are hubs and CERT teams, and where are the holes? I think that was part of what we're looking at, but let's say that's a next step for us. So I'll scroll back up here. So we got our definition, and we've got our, here we go. So say our next step is, Matt, how would we do the reach out to find those? What would our next step be, you think? Should we reach out to Molly or something?
No, we would reach out to Jeff Spencer. He's in charge of the Emergency Reserve Corps for DEM. And, you know, I could certainly reach out to him. We just say, you know, I could go look at the zip code map and say, look, let's first reach out to these folks and see if they're interested in having a conversation. They won't give me the emails, but they will send an email on our behalf.
Okay, I think you should do that. You're the perfect person. And how about I reach out to Molly and kind of let her know what we're up to? Because I know they want to be informed, if not in control of everything, at least informed of what.
And just for informational, we are located in 96797. That's our zip. So
967 96797.
97. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I have a zip code map for the island, and so I can absolutely say, let's look in this area. But we can also reach out to, there's established CERT teams in EVA already. And we can certainly reach out to them and say, hey, is anybody interested in having a conversation around this? We could just do a quick Zoom meeting with them if they are.
I think this is great. I'll reach back out to the EVA Neighborhood Board. We'll reach back out. Yeah, you do that, Matt, sort of, if you want to take that lead. And then I know Molly, they want to just kind of keep up with it. And I can reach out to Molly.
Actually, I just realized we actually have a second location farther up the road in 96759, because Cuneo Village is actually ours as well.
Okay.
96759, you said?
Yep, 96759.
I think, Michael, after we do these little reach outs, then I think maybe we try to bring together sort of.
If you get a hold of her, maybe she might be able to give you an understanding of what some of these other churches here are doing as well.
That would be incredible.
Well, give it to Atalina, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you could give it to me or Sage, that will help, because we'll be in charge of the neighborhood board communication. But
okay,
I'll
just text it to you right now in chat.
Lovely. I want to be also respectful of other people's times. Maybe I'll check in with the CERT group and see how they're doing. Let me jump in. All right, I gave them a little poke. Should be coming back, but they have lots to share. Let's see. Miku, are you with us?
I'm back. Am I supposed to do this part or is this you? We can just report.
Yeah, I was like for group one, Aloha, if you could share a little bit of your reflections from what we talked about. We had a small, cute little group, so we got to talk stuff.
Well, we agreed on your new option E that CERT put together that combines trusted hyper-local place with network and to activate during any disruption. That's spot on. We like that. I also gave an example of why we needed both the place and the network. So the example is that we have here in East Oʻahu the Kiskahui membership, and we have about 150 or so people, but it's a communication platform, and we only come together not just for meetings and educational lectures, but also to come together for a major initiative like we did with the Symposium for Climate Resilience, where we asked many of our Kiskahui members to be roundtable participants or speakers for that symposium. But that's just a kind of a communication group. But the place is needed because there are times when many occasions when we need to do workshops or we have to do educational programming for the community or for, in the future, maybe the visitors, because, they get included in disruption when we have a disruption on the ground. So it's important that visitors also get an understanding of what to do while they're here in Hawaii. And also, when we do have a space in the future here at East Oʻahu, I think it'll be good to continue the Kiskahui unless the space creates its own communication platform, in which case we will then ask our Kiskahui members on Basecamp to migrate over to the new communication platform. So that's kind of what we discussed.
Aloha. And then who is the next gen?
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. I'm a part of HLC. I was working with the next gen working group. We all decided we liked which option was that? I think it was letter C, I believe. That was the hyper local place, or we decided we didn't like the term networking or network. We liked putting in group, so we decided a hyper-local place or group that supports everyday resilience during and during a disruption, supports a coordinated response. We were thinking, because we were making a definition for a resilience hub, it's more of a group than a network. A little smaller, I guess. Yeah. I'll pass it over to the next group. Maybe Chris? Oh, Miku? Yes.
Did I raise my hand? That's weird.
Yeah.
I was thinking of talking. I was about to write in the chat because I got excited, because that's exactly what we did. Basically, we independently went through almost the same logical thought process. And so our E, if Honu, you want to type that into the chat, Honu? The option E, we just modified it slightly, but more or less arrived at the same thing instead of network group, and only because network could be confusing because there's resilience hub networks, but group at least still encompasses networks. So the Kiskahui could count as group, right? And then it won't be confusing with resilience hubs networks. And we also put in that like the ecosystem of resilience, because there's a whole ecosystem of actual other networks out there supporting these hubs as they exist. So That way it kind of captures a both and. So that's what we came up with. And then we came up with some pretty good next steps. Does anyone else from our group want to say I'm actually quite proud of us, Michael or Matt or anyone else want to share what we're doing next for our working group? We're going to do stuff. We're ready to actually do the working part.
Sure, I can talk to that. So I'm going to be contacting DEM. They have all the list of people who've ever been trained for CERT. And based on Michael's zip code locations, we're going to look at nearby zip codes because local is local. And we're going to ask them to reach out and see if people are interested in connecting to them as a hub. Miko's going to keep Molly informed at DEM. And she's also going to reach out to the Everable. And we have the zip codes listed in the notes.
I'm just putting this in to make it clear for people. The Agriculture Research Center with Michael, and right, so we're sort of going to pilot this idea of how we connect certs to hubs, and that way we can support Michael as he's building up his to get more resources and people, and we're going to move on it and see how far we can get. So those are our next steps for our working group.
That's awesome, you guys. Let's see. Okay. And then Miku, do you want to do reflections?
Sure. Was there anything in the welcome room or was that all of the groups today?
Yes, in the welcome room. Sorry.
Yeah, we had I can do a quick share out from the welcome group. So we had discussions about kind of larger priorities for resilience work, especially because it's a wide range of people that are all brand new. And so the priorities people shared were very important. There was a concern for safety, for like blue skies initiatives, for like youth phone safety, reducing texting and driving, making walking in the city safer, also focusing on things like food security, mental and physical health, supporting kupuna, and AINA-based work. And it was also brought up that one of the biggest barriers that a lot of communities are facing right now is trust, like within themselves, within their communities. And also making sure that areas like Windward can be self-sufficient if resources get pulled to Honolulu first. And so those are some of the things that we had talked about. And so based on what everyone had shared, it kind of seemed like we were saying that Group D or Option D would be kind of like a better option. Because that trusted gathering site or group that supports everyday resilience and then activates to support during a disruption. So that way they are able to produce resources like for their community rather than relying on resources being pulled away. And so that word trusted, I think, mattered a lot in the conversations that we had about those bigger priorities. But we didn't discuss, I want to say we didn't explicitly discuss any of the options, but we had these kind of larger discussions. But it kind of echoed option D the most. So I'll pass it back to you to go on to our reflections.
All right, I'm just going to screen share. Thanks, you guys. I think that's plenty for us to have enough to vote on. So we'll do a couple different iterations on that, and then we'll send it back out to all of our membership. I really think we're honing in on a strong definition that we can all kind of have shared understanding of, right? That matches where the different people are and how it's a little bit different on Oʻahu as well. So I think that that's great. So I'm gonna screen share and kind of wrap us up. So this is where we left off. This up here. So a couple of things. Today was going to be the day that we're going to vote. What I'm going to do is open the voting. I'll just click us over. Just as a refresher for those that are brand new, and then those that have been coming, just as a refresher, this was sort of like looking at 2025. We've been operating with not a lot of capacity for the last year in between when the Action 15 project was funded and it ended, and then the community organization itself kind of took up the reins in a way and is reconfiguring to be more community led. then in August, or actually officially more like September, we received some additional funding, so we have this awesome team, and now we can really build out our organization and have the capacity that we need to do this good work. So here is where we are at. We're building out the membership now for Resilience Hubs, now that we have definition. We have our general members of this broader community of practice, the Hub Learning community. And so it's more than just hubs, right? It's actually that whole ecosystem of resilience, hubs, and everybody who wants to support hubs. And then the other thing that we were working on is getting leadership teams. So we have representation from each of the regions. So my update on that is actually we've gotten a great number of nominations. I just went back and looked at it. We have multiple nominations and people who are kind of self-signing up across the region. The ones that we are missing, we could still use like one more central and one more EVA. I guess if we only have one option, then that's okay. But so what I was going to suggest is, and then the other thing I was realizing is to make it a little bit more like democratic. Each person that nominated is going to get a little bit of a form, and then maybe they'll have a small space to share. I guess why they want to, why they want to be a leader, and I'll work with you guys on getting feedback on that. But that way, when you go to vote, it's not just names. There's just like a little bit of information about it. I think that would be helpful for people as they're trying to make their final votes. So we're really close. So if those of you who are here, you specifically know other people in EVA or Central who would be good fit for that regional kind of leadership. And then just as a reminder, the leadership team, they're not necessarily making like the only decision makers for our community. They're just helping us shape the priorities and needs that we then take back to the broader membership to vote on. That's the main difference, is they're just a little bit more active and they're kind of keeping that region in mind, not just their individual hub or individual organization in mind. So yeah, if you do have suggestions for people for Central or EVA, we could use a few more. And then everyone else who's on here that actually, if you did sign up to be a regional kind of point person or a leader, I'll send you a little bit of a follow-up form, basically. So that's where we're at. We're doing pretty well. Next steps for the year are we're finalizing that definition. Oh, this is going to be exciting. We'll be reaching back out to the original 156 hubs that were nominated. Michael, like for example, that was the neighborhood board that ended up using that report to reach back out. But this is what we'll be doing the next couple of months. And we're going to focus on the top one or two listed, but then if there's others that have come up, then we'll focus on those and we'll go from there. So they'll get invitations to sign up or join the membership here. We will have that hopefully by our January meeting. We'll know who the regional leaders are. And then we'll begin our programming for 2026 activities and trainings, and also prep for our very first summit. So that's where we are. So we're moving along little by little. And this kind of final couple minutes is just to open up to any reflections or thoughts for you all of where we've come from and where we're going for 2026. If anyone has things to add to bring us into the new year as we wrap up our final meeting. For 2025. So open floor for the last couple minutes.
I looked into
On?
the,
Okay, see on and then Chris.
I looked at the agenda that we're all sharing and how it's like 100 pages long, and how the first ever meeting of this hub was in December of last year. And I'm thinking like this is my first meeting that I joined, and there's this really cool structure that I've been like, someone held my hand, led me through the structure of going to these breaking out groups, and then just realizing I had an epiphany that even though we were all awkward at first and no one wanted to say hi, we all really cared, or people in my breaking group, we all cared about making sure we stay alive. So that just goes to show that we look different, but we all have something in common. And that just makes this hub really special, because I don't know any of y'all except Dr. Miku, but it's really special how we're all still passionate about public health. And with the current downfalls of current events, we're still going because we know we can do the things that we want to do as long as we put the work into it. Passing it on to Chris.
Thank you, An. Yeah, I just wanted to reflect on just this last year, but like especially with kind of the launch of this hub learning community in general, like seeing it go from meet and greets where we were all kind of getting to know each other and just kind of understanding the flow of things to what it's become today and getting to do the welcome room and get to hear about everyone's passions and the reasons of for why they're in the room and what brought them here today, I think has just been incredible. And I think that as we have these discussions grow more and more, it's only going to get more fruitful. So I'm just thankful to everyone who's shown up and planted a seed, no matter how small they think it is. It's been really great.
Well, I'd like to just also thank Miku and your team for pulling this all together because it certainly has been informative and educational for me to understand what you all are doing across the state and beyond, Marshall Islands included, I see. And just thank you for what you've done in the last couple of years now, and wish all of us the best for 2026 and look forward to more collaboration with you, with all of you. Thank you.
I have to jump back in. Mahalo, aloha, and everybody. I get really like sappy. I'm like, oh God, thanks for sharing. Diane, who went through CERT training with me, you guys. She was in the bunker. We did it. I just wanted to put a little teaser out there as there's going to be an emphasis on the wellness aspect of resilience and especially the mental health. We have on the docket, Auntie Debbie wants to do psychological first aid training. Another amazing trainer named Amanda Hess is going to be doing disaster mental health, a virtual one. And then Diane, I know we're still talking, but like maybe bringing Diane and her beautiful work with, I don't know, I have to describe the song. The song sticks with my head, but like how to bring in also the holistic well-being and the mental health aspects of this work as we go into the new year. So just shout out to you, Diane. And I don't know if anyone had a chance to meet you yet, but welcome. This is her first time coming as well.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. You know, I'm the new, can't say kid, kapuna on the block here, but I feel so supported and taken care of. And I have a new confidence because of all of the work that you're doing and that you are really, really sincere in how you're going to take care. Together, we're going to take care of our community. Yeah, so really thank you. Thank you.
I think there's time for one or two more. I saw Hale smile when I said ring in the new year. Did you want to add anything, Hale, or anyone else?
No, sorry, I was on a call. I had to take this call, so I was here, but I was not here during the meeting, so I apologize for that. But next year I will be more here. So
Oh,
um,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much. Yes, we've grown a lot. Like word is spreading, so this is super exciting to me. Like how how much this is embraced by people. I think what these hubs will be are I think they're the catalyst for community change in every community. I'm not sure if everybody realizes that, but from the skills that we can learn through this and whatever avenue you start with, it's all you'll probably end up learning all of it at some point, like survival, growing things, emergency management, like the whole gamut. And so I feel like this is just the beginning of something huge, like to actually change the whole state. So I'm really excited. Thanks.
Mahalo hail. You know, Honu, I totally stole the mic from you again. You know, you guys be like meet, and I'm like, I'll do this slide, and you'll do this slide. And I swear, I'm sorry, I hogged the mic. Honu, I'm gonna pass it back to you to either wrap us up or do one more, but I wanna, hand it back to you, Honu.
I think I'd like to share a reflection of how I've seen Resilience Hub as a conversation in Hawaii really grow and transform. As a Mahalo Nui, the group has grown. Like you said, word is getting around and it feels real and it feels tangible and it's exciting and it feels like it's for me a dream come true. To be having these conversations, to know that we can consistently meet and to know that it's being moved at like a neighborhood board level, resolutions, Aloha's passing resolutions, so we can have more of these consistent conversations. We are sitting on the dream and actively together sharing space, doing the community of practice, like executing it. And I love to hear how empowered we all sound in our communities, knowing that we're all actively thinking about it. So I'm piha. I'm very full in my body. And I'm really excited to just keep the conversation going with such great capacity and such great minds and such great leaders. And so thank you for allowing us, HLC, to host you all today and keep hosting you all. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys and can't wait to see you all again soon. Please enjoy your holidays. Stay warm, please, but still drink water, maybe tea. But I'm sending pule and pale to all of your ohana and to your communities. I'm wishing you well. See you next year. We hope.
Bye, everyone.
Aloha
Thank you.
nui.
Thank you so
Have some
much,
rest.
everybody.
Stay
Mahalo,
dry.
Merry
mahalo.
Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy all the holidays.
Yes.
Merry
Take care,
Christmas, guys.
everybody.
Happy New Year.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
Bye.